less traveled. From God, that is a call. We have a story today, and I'm so happy to just call on Brother Junjun and Carlin to just come and tell their story today and this morning. Let's give them a hand. Come on.
Good morning. My name is Junjun Ligaspi. I'm a licensed electronics and communications engineer working as a full-time instructor at the University of St. LaSalle. Right beside me is my wife, Carlene, a registered nurse, and we have a 4-year-old son named Ethan John. In the late 1990s, I was already climbing up the corporate ladder while working as an IT supervisor in a shipping company. Carlene then was working as a volunteer in the church. Unknown to many, I had a pending immigration application to go to Canada. Carlene also had just completed a short-term 2-week mission trip in India, spying out of the land after a 6-month training to be a missionary. In fact, she was already scheduled to go on a long-term mission trip back to India and was already processing her visa. It was also at this time that I felt a strong call from the Lord to court Carlene, with a possibility that we will be separated by distance and time when she goes back to India. I can still recall the pointed and concerned questions asked by Pastor Jobert when I asked permission from the leadership to court her. Don't you know that by courting Carlene, you might distract her from the mission and purpose that God has laid in her heart? Those were times when you need more of God's direction, grace, and strength as you seek for answers that is not easily seen and coming. Yet we saw God's hand moving at this time. Though we cannot then fully explain it, Carlene's visa for India was denied, and my application for immigration to Canada was also denied. It was years later that God revealed to us that the reason we experienced those denials was because if ever He wants us to go abroad for some reason or another, we need to go as a family. God is indeed faithful. To make the story short, we got married on December of 2000 and proceeded to build a family. Early on with our marriage, we continued to serve the Lord with fervor and enthusiasm. By this time, Carlene confided to me the desire to serve the Lord full-time as a missionary and naturally expected me to do the same. I responded that it was absolutely farthest from my mind right now, and that if God wants us to go, He needs to tell it to me first, being the head of the family. I'm sure that Carlene kept in her heart this burning desire to serve the Lord in a full-time capacity. The year 2003 saw the birth of our son Ethan John, and a lot of adjustments and changes happened in our family. I believe that when the church adopted the G12 principle around 2003, was the beginning of a breakthrough in our ministry, of our maturity and spiritual life as a family. Through the PEP course, and especially the encounter sessions, we saw ourselves being used mightily by God in the area of intercession, ministry, prayer, healing, deliverance, exercising spiritual gifts, and prophetic visions. The church experienced exponential growth in small group discipleship, and we saw ourselves leading the church in our areas of influence. Me being mentored by the primary group of the men's network of Pastor Jobert, while at the same time also leading my own small group, and Carlene leading the women's network, while at the same time involved in the worship team. We also experienced tremendous blessings when we supported the Thanksgiving programs of A Lot for a Lot and Thanks a Lot campaigns and even the missions program of our church. Personally, I consider the year 2007 as a spiritual breakthrough for me,